Byju's 9th and 10th grade channel. I'm Aishwarya and today we are going to be winding up the chapter How Do Organisms Reproduce with the last part of this chapter where we are going to be discussing sexual reproduction in plants. So this is a part of our Jeet Ka Josh series and this is part 3 of 3, right, of this particular chapter. So everyone, very quickly, I hope that my audio, my video and my screen and what I am writing is visible to all of you. I hope everything is visible, yes? All right, good evening everybody, good evening. Very quickly, please make sure that you get all of your friends to come and be a part of this class. We'll wind this up and of course today's class is going to be very simple and we're going to visualize it. See, the most important part about, understanding reproduction in plants is to make sure that you visualize, you understand what exactly happens. And in your textbook, this is a very small part, but you will definitely get questions in your exam as well. So please make sure that you pay attention, okay? Yes, all right, okay. Yes, I will try my best to incorporate a little bit of Hindi. I will try my best, okay, because I know you all keep asking me. So I'll keep trying little. So if my accent seems a little off or maybe, it doesn't quite sound like what it should be, please forgive me, okay? But I will try. Very good, Abhinav, very good that you've already called your friend. And do not forget to hit that like button. See, today what you are going to see is going to be amazing. You are going to visualize it like none other. So please make sure that you hit that like button. You subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button also. Yes, all right, very good, very good. So for a lot of you who are new and who might be, sitting in my class for the first time, I'm Aishwarya. I am also a biology teacher. I take 6 to 10 classes. And of course, here and there, of course, you keep seeing me, but now you'll see me a lot more on the channel as well, okay? So today we're going to be learning sexual reproduction in plants. And everybody, let's get started. Very quickly, how's the Josh in the class, right? Quick check of excitement level and we'll get started very soon. Let's not waste any more time, okay? I'm amazing, very happy, very excited to be with all of you, right? So very happy. Yes, hi Nikita, hello. All right, super duper hi. Yes, Ashish, yes, okay, very good, very good. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. All right, very good. And of course, if the Josh is high, I need to also see that in the likes. I want to see that in the subscription as well. So do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, okay? Don't ever forget that. Yes, all right, everybody. So now that we have a good check, let's get started. Ravi, can you also set up the comments on the screen? Okay. Now, of course, here's a quick reminder for all of you to be a part and register for ANTHE, which is Aakash National Talent Hunt exam. Dates are coming closer, right? We're already in October 2nd week. It's happening in November. And of course, you know that this is going to be an amazing exposure to competitive exams. And talking about competitive exams, we are also having a small surprise for all of you, where we are having Foundation Fest series that is going to happen, right? So this will help you learn, revise the complete syllabus, yes? And so far, whatever we have covered, we are going to be revising all of this, which will definitely help you for your IIT NEET Foundation, ANTHE, NTSE, NSO, boards, all of it, right? So as you can see, the dates are on screen. So from October 25th, we are going to be starting this for 2 weeks till November 3rd. Take a screenshot of this, pin it in your rooms, right? Or, make sure you have it saved in your phone because this is going to be helpful for all of you, right? So now, of course, in our class, right, we see that we are going to be covering 4 important topics, okay? So we'll start off with learning about structure of flower. But before that, what we will do is we will do a quick recall of reproduction and the modes of reproduction, right? So we'll do a quick recall. Then we'll quickly go into learning about the structure of the flower, which you've already learned in your lower grades, but we will do a quick recall. Then we will also do pollination and types. Again, we've learned about this in our lower grades, right? So we will do these topics slightly faster because we already know about it. But what we are going to spend time today is on fertilization and double fertilization, okay? This is very important, and we will also learn about some post post-fertilization changes that take place. And in the end of the class, we are also going to be looking at 5 questions from NEET exam, right? So in NEET as well, if you see, this particular topic is very important and you get quite a bit of questions. So of course, I'll not give you very tough ones also, but we'll do little bit easy ones, but some which have come in your NEET exam, okay? So we are going to be learning these 3 things a little bit in detail. And I told you, in our class today, we are not just going to learn. We are going to visualize. So we are going to visualize with the help of this software. This is an inbuilt software created here at BYJU'S, which will help us visualize the structure of the flower. It will help us visualize how exactly pollination takes place, how later on when we talk about post-pollination changes, how fertilization happens, growth of pollen tube, all of these things we are going to visualize with this software. So stay tuned in the class. Do not forget, do not leave at any point, because I'm telling you this is going to be really helpful. After you watch this video, you will never forget this topic. That's my promise to you, right? Yes, all right. Very good, everybody. Very, very good. Okay. So now very quickly, I want you to tell me, we're going to quickly recall some of the topics that you have already learnt about, right? So we're going to start off with reproduction. So how do we define reproduction? This kind of thing can come for 1 mark in your exams, right? So very quickly, how do we define reproduction? Can you all tell me in the chat? Yes? Whoops. Very good, very good. Yes, Fatima, don't leave at any point, right? Because I'm telling you, you are going to have an amazing visual throughout today. Yes, all right. Very good, everybody. All right. So I'm not able to still see the chart on my screen. Very good. Yes, it is to produce young ones, right? So reproduction is nothing but the process by which living organisms, yes, make young ones of their own kind. Very good, Palak, very good, Fatima, very good, Sai Murli. I can see Yash's answer. Yes, very good, very good. To produce young ones. So they make young ones of their own kind, right? So this is again very important to understand. Now we have 2 modes of reproduction. We have asexual and sexual mode. So quickly, can you tell me asexual mode of reproduction? Quick recall. How many parents are involved in asexual? 1 or 2? Now I want the chat to go very fast. Yes? All right, very good. How many parents? 1 parent. Yes, all right. So 1 parent is involved in asexual reproduction. Yes, and do we see any gametes here? Are gametes, is there formation of gametes? Yes? 1 parent, very good. No TGB, there's no 0 parent. 1 parent is there, right? Very good, Jolsna. There is no involvement of gametes, right? So we see that there is no involvement of gametes. Very good. Now, of course, do we observe a lot of variations in asexual reproduction? Do we observe a lot of variations, or variations are limited? What do you think? Lot of variations or less variations? Very good, very good. Yes, no, we don't observe a lot of variations, right? So I'll say minimal variations. Yes, very good. Now quickly, everybody, help me recall sexual reproduction. Yes? Very good. Yes, the offsprings are exact copies, or the young ones are identical to their parent, right? Very good. Now what about sexual reproduction? How many parents involved? Very good. Biparental, or 2 parents are involved in this case, right? And of course, do we observe gametes are being here? Do we have gametes here? Yes, very good. 2 parents are there, right? So 2 parents, and do we observe involvement of gametes? Yes, very good. So we observe involvement of gametes. Yes. Now what about variations? Do we observe variations in this case? Yes, very good, everybody. So we observe, so variations are there. So more number of variations we would see when compared, and we see that offsprings here are not identical, right? So we see that offsprings are not identical to the parent, but we see that they are similar to the parent. So this term is very important, right? Now in this case, we see that asexual reproduction is seen in certain lower organisms like your bacteria, in fungi, and we learned about the various kinds of it, right, from Ankita ma'am's session. Yes, but in the case of sexual reproduction, we saw that in higher organisms, like in the case of humans, we know that sexual reproduction takes place. Now we also know that in the case of plants, right? Now in the case of plants, we learnt about something, yes? How many of you remember vegetative propagation in the case of plants, right? We learnt about vegetative propagation in plants, no? How many of you remember this? Yes, yes, Chandrakala, I'll increase my font size when I'm writing, okay? Very good. Now, how many of you can tell me what is vegetative propagation? Yes? What is vegetative propagation? In the chat, right? So that's something we learnt about in our class, yes? Very good. Very good, Srilata Devi. Very good. Yes, it is reproduction through vegetative parts, right? So vegetative propagation is something that we observe in plants. Yes, it grows from different vegetative parts like the root, stem, and leaf. And in this case, we see that there is no seeds that are formed, right? We see that seeds are not formed here. Then when is seeds formed, or when are these seeds formed? Seeds are formed when plants do sexual reproduction, right? So in sexual reproduction, the criteria still remain the same, okay? But what we observe is that seeds are formed, and in some cases, we also observe that flowers are involved, right? Which is why we're talking about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So let's start off with understanding what is a flower and how do we define a flower, right? So flowers are nothing but they are modified shoots. So they are part of the shoot system and they are modified, okay? And they are modified to be the reproductive organs of the plant. Very, very important. Make a note of this definition if they ask you, how do you define a flower? No? So then you will know what to write. Yes? Flowers are nothing but the reproductive organs. Yes? Now, can any of you tell me why do we call it as the reproductive organ? What is the reason behind calling it a reproductive organ? Yes? Why is it called as it? Two parents. Okay, Deba says two parents. Jolsna says pollination. Yes, very good, Srilata Devi. It consists of the stamen and pistil because of pollen grain or they. Very good, Aswari. They help in reproduction. Okay, you are absolutely right. But if they ask you why is it a reproductive organ? Because this is what consists of the male reproductive part. So I'm going to write this a little more bigger. It's just that the tablet is pretty huge, so my handwriting is looking smaller. So it has both the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part. Okay. So we see that it has both of these structures in them. Hence, it is known as the male. It is called as the reproductive organ. Okay. Very simple and easy. Now let's quickly look into the parts of the flower or structure of the flower. Okay. Now when we talk about parts of the flower, we know that the flower is found attached to the stem and it is found attached to the stem with the help of a pedicel, right? So pedicel here is nothing but the stalk that is there. Okay. What is pedicel? It is the stalk that attaches the flower to the stem. Now sometimes we also see that above the pedicel we see a bulge structure here, okay? And it is not in all plants, okay? It is just that in some cases we see that it will be bulged, all right? And this is what we call as a thalamus, right? Or we also call it as a receptacle, all right? So please do make a note of it. Yes, Jaiveer, thank you so much for this suggestion. So can you please do one thing, right? So in this case, if you see, right, you can add this in your comments, in the comments of this video. Our team will be, there to help you out. How to draw it neatly? Shall I do one thing towards the end? Shall I also tell you how to draw the flower, the structure of the flower? I'll do that also towards the end, okay? Hi Ronak, hello. Yes, welcome to the class. I can see a lot of you are new. Yes, so in this case, what we're going to do is we will be learning about structure of the flower, right? We're ongoing with it and do not forget to hit that like button, okay? So all of you, don't forget to like this video. Yes? All right. Okay, everybody. So in this case, if you see, right, we see that we've learnt about these two parts. But now, like a lot of you are telling me, we know that there are other main parts of the plant, right? So let's have a look at the structure of the flower by actually visualizing it. Yes? So Ravi, can we switch to the software? Yes, very good, very good. Yes. What is the use of thalamus? So in some cases, what happens is that the thalamus is like a bulb structure which is there. Okay? Yes. Just give me one moment. Let me set it up. Okay, all right. So it's like a bulb structure. So can we move me to the other side of the screen? Are you all able to see the screen? Are you all able to see the screen, right? Yes, very good. Are you able to see it? Now this right here is the 3D structure of the flower. Okay, so this is a software. Oops, yeah. So this is a software that we have built within our company for all of you, right? To make sure that you are able to visualize concepts in the best manner, right? Which means I am able to move it around like this. I'll be able to show you different parts. I'll be able to select it, highlight different parts, and of course we will be able to see holographic views of the structure. We will be able to see cross sections of it, right? So today we are going to explore this software, okay? And apart from that, we have various animations also that will be there. So let me just reset this. We have various animations that will help us view all of this. So are you able to see? You can see some animations that will happen, and trust me, you will be able to learn. When I say visualize, I mean it, that you will be able to visualize. So first up, let's learn about the different parts of the flower. Okay, so now this is something that we already know about, right? So very quickly, can you tell me about the 4 parts of the flower in the chat? What are the 4 parts that are there? Yes? What are the 4 important parts of the flower that we talk about? And as you tell me, I'm going to highlight on the screen. Yes? Aswari will quickly recall parts of the flower and then we'll jump to this. Okay? Yes, very good. Stamen, pistil. Okay, some of you are saying stigma. I want 4 parts. Yes? Petals, anther. Okay, pistil. I want the other parts also. We have some colored parts. Yes, very good. I can see the answer. So the 4 parts include you have your sepals, right, which are these green leafy structures you see on screen, right, and these green leafy structures protect the flower during the bud stage. Now you have your petals that are there, right? So these bright colored structures that I have highlighted here, they are your petals, right? And we know petals are brightly colored. They come in different colors, shapes, sizes, and they are there to attract insects. Now, of course, the sepals and the petals form your non-essential parts, which means that they are not really directly involved, right, in reproduction. But they aid in reproduction. But like how all of you are telling me, ma'am, the 2 most important parts that are there are your stamens, right? So this part that I've highlighted, I'm just going to zoom from top, right? So this part which I've highlighted here are your stamens, right? So let me just zoom out a little. Yeah. So this right here are your stamens, as you can see. And hibiscus is a very common flower. We see it all the time, no? Hibiscus is very common. So the small pointy structures you see are your stamens. And then, of course, you have your pistil. And here, as you can see, this top part and this whole structure here includes your pistil. So whatever I've highlighted, I'm going to zoom in a little. This right here are your pistils. Yes? So these are the 4 parts. Now, of course, all these parts also form the whorls, right? So your sepals form the outermost whorl that is there, which is the calyx. And we know that the petals will form the corolla. Your stamens will form the androecium. And the pistil will form the gynoecium. So when you quickly take a cross section of it, you will be able to see it a little more clearly. So as you can see here, we have the outermost part, so we have the calyx, which includes your sepals. Then you have the corolla, which is there, which includes all of your petals that are there. Then on the center, on top part here, you have your androecium on top, right? Of course, you will not be able to see, but yes. This is the androecium that is there, and this whole structure is your gynoecium, which includes your pistil. Now, pistil has stigma, style, and ovary, right? So the top part is your stigma, then you have this long tubular style. The bottom bulged part is your ovary, inside which we find ovules. Are we clear? Are we all clear about the different parts? Yes? Very quickly, are we clear? Okay, I'm going to try in Hindi, okay, right now, so please don't make fun of it. फ्लावर पे तो वी नो दैट देयर आर 4 पार्ट्स, राइट? 4 पार्ट होंगे. आउटरमोस्ट वर्ल कैलिक्स होगा, उसके बाद कोरोला होगा जिसमें पेटल्स है और कोरोला मेक्स अप योर पेटल्स. उसके बाद वी नो दैट वी हैव स्टेमेंस दैट आर देयर एंड स्टेमेंस दे आर योर मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट्स. और लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट पिस्टल्स होगा जिसमें स्टिग्मा, स्टाइल और ओवरी होगा. ठीक है? आई हैव ट्राइड हिंदी में. It will take me some time, right? Little bit here and there, I'll slip in some Hindi. Let me keep trying. You all be with me, okay? Yes, all right. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Okay, yes, Shaiza, yes, all right. Okay, so now we're going to switch, okay? We're going to switch. We'll recall this and go into understanding a little bit detail about these parts, yes? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, yes, let's get started. All right. Now, of course, if you see here, right, we have the floral appendages and I have it on screen, right? So in this case, we have sepals. For all of you who want this once again, I'm going to use it with the PPT as well, no? So we have sepals, which is your outermost green leafy part, which is there, that forms your first whorl of the flower, which is calyx, right? So sepals that are there. Yes, Krishna, I'll be a little more slower, right? So sepals that are there form your calyx, right? They are green in color. They protect the flower during the bud stage. Yes? Now next up you have petals, and all your petals. Somebody was asking me, ma'am, what is corolla? Corolla is nothing but all the petals or the group of petals that are there, right? Now they are brightly colored parts and they attract bees, birds and insects. Now you have your stamen, right? And your stamen here is the male reproductive part. Now it's important we understand the structure of the stamen. So I was not able to show this to you clearly in that software, so we'll discuss this a little bit. Now your stamen has two structures. It has anther and filament, right? Anther is this long tubular structure that you see, right? While on the other hand, we see that we have this particular part, no? This topmost part, which is called as your anther. So filament and anther. Now inside, if you look closer, the anther will have many sac-like structures, right? So in this case, we see that these sac-like structures that you see are your pollen sacs. And inside we have pollen grains. Now somebody is asking me, ma'am, what are pollen grains? Pollen grains are nothing but fine powdery substances, right? So we see that they are fine powdery substances which consist of your male gametes, right? So we see that inside it what will contain the male gamete. So you have these structures. So you have something known as a vegetative nucleus and a generative nucleus. And your generative nucleus is what will eventually give you your male gamete, right? So very important to understand this. So you need to remember the structure of the stamen, that it has anther and filament. Anther has these lobes which produce these fine powdery substances known as pollen grains. And of course, as you can see, it consists of the male gamete, right? Are we clear? All in one, you are asking me about anthe. So I will tell you about anthe. It's a competitive exam which you can register for, right? Now for those of you, all right, I do understand, Shaiza. Let's not focus there, okay? Please explain nucleus. Okay. See, if you look at the structure of the pollen grain here, no, if you see here, if you look at the structure, we see that inside, outside it has all these pointy things. It has a rough exterior, but on the inside it has two nucleuses, okay? One is the vegetative nucleus, which is a large nucleus. Now this part of the pollen grain acts as a food reserve, okay, or a food reserve, sorry. And then you have the generative nucleus. Now your generative nucleus is what is eventually going to become the male gametes. And see, I am saying male gametes, that means there are two, not one. So important to remember this. Vaibhav, are we clear with the difference between vegetative and generative nucleus? Yes, are we clear? Okay. What is red in the figure? That is the nucleus. That is what is red in color. Okay. Bad boy, I think Ankita ma'am has already taken a class on this, right? So you can check that video out on human reproduction, okay? What is the difference between pollination and pollen germination? I will get to that, Aswari. Just please give me 5 minutes, okay? What are gametes? Okay, see, gametes are nothing but They are the reproductive cells, okay? Gametes are reproductive cells. What are reproductive cells? Cells which get involved in reproduction. Are we clear, everyone? Any doubts so far with stamen, structure of stamen, anything that you are clear? So please make sure that you take a screenshot of this, right? If you're giving me, if we are all clear, let's get going with the next part. I will be explaining pistil. Some of you are asking me, ma'am, please explain pistil. I'm going to explain it in just a bit, okay? Amit, I will get to, I will just make sure that I'm getting to double fertilization in just a bit, okay? Ankur, I'm also going to explain types of flowers in 2 minutes. Once I finish pistil, I will be explaining that, okay? Yes, all right. Yes, all in one, you can ask me your doubts, okay? In the meanwhile, I will do this. See, now next part that you see here is pistil. Now pistil here is your female reproductive part, and we see that all these pistils here come together and they form the innermost part or the innermost whorl, which is known as gynoecium. Now your pistil has 3 structures, okay? So let's learn about this a little bit in detail. Your pistil has this top flattened knob-like structure known as stigma. So what is stigma? It is a terminal knob-like structure. What is a knob? A door knob. You've seen that bulb-like thing, no, at the door, right? So that is your knob-like structure. So in this case, we know that it is a terminal knob-like structure where the pollen grains will land, okay? So it's a landing platform for your pollen. Now this will lead into a long, slender, tubular part known as style. So this is long and slender, okay, which will connect your stigma to the swollen base, which is your ovary, right? Now, ovary, of course, consists of many small. So, this is a zoomed version of it, right? So, we see that there are many small ovoid structures here known as ovules. Yes, and your ovules consists of something known as the embryo sac. Make a note of this term, very, very important, right? So, very, very important. Ovule has your embryo sac, and an embryo sac will look something like this, and this consists of your female gamete or your egg cell, okay? Are we clear? Are we clear with this? For those of you, Vaibhav, what is gynoecium? Gynoecium is nothing but the innermost whorl, okay? So we see that it is the innermost whorl of the flower, which includes your female reproductive part. Are we clear? Give me a quick thumbs up on the chat. Can you explain gynoecium in an easy way? See, gynoecium is your female part, right? So here if you see, it is your female reproductive part. And you can always think of gynoecium like a flower vase, right? So if we draw a flower vase also, it will look something like this. That's how I remember the structure. Now in this case, the top part is your stigma, this is your style, right? Which is the neck part that is there, and the swollen base that is there is your ovary, right? Shown in which figure? Are we clear? Pollen tube, I'm getting to pollen tube, okay? Repeat it. Are we clear? I've repeated this once again. Yes? What happened, Ananya? What happened? Fission and fusion. Fusion is when they come together. Fission is splitting, right? Fission means to split. Fusion means to combine. Are we clear? Yes. Style consists of pollen tubes? No, not really. The pollen tube grows into the style. Yes? Okay, all right. What is gynoecium? Okay, I'm going to try it in Hindi also for those of you who are struggling to understand this, okay? So gynoecium होगा female reproductive part, ठीक है? उसमें 3 regions होंगे. First होगा stigma, right? फिर होगा इसमें style, और last वो swollen base जैसा जो होगा वहाँ पे होगा ovary, right? So stigma में stigma एक terminal, you know, landing spot जैसा होगा, ठीक है? और इसमें pollen grains land होंगे, और जब पोलन ग्रेन्स उस पे लैंड होगा, इससे वो पोलन ट्यूब ग्रो होके वो नीचे स्टाइल तक आएगा, और उसके बाद वो ओवरी रीच करेगा जिसके अंदर ओव्यूल्स होंगे. ओव्यूल्स के अंदर हमको वी विल फाइंड, राइट, वी विल फाइंड योर एम्ब्रियो सैक दैट इज देयर, राइट? सो आर वी क्लियर? आपको इतनी अच्छी हिंदी आती है? आई एम नॉट फ्लुएंट. आई नेवर टोल्ड यू दैट आई डोंट नो हिंदी. आई एम नॉट फ्लुएंट इन हिंदी. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. लाइक आई स्ट्रगल टू स्पीक फ्लुएंटली. Yes, such parts. Okay, I'll go back to this. Are we clear? You can take a screenshot of this screen. Yes, all right. एंथर और फिलामेंट में मेल पार्ट है प्लांट में और स्टाइल फीमेल पार्ट है. Okay, Shweta is helping all in one. Okay, or helping bad boy. Fine. What is pollen grain? We know, no, pollen grain is your male. It is a powdery substance which consists of your female part. Okay. I am getting to triple fusion. So this is a quick recall of whatever we have studied, right? Yes. See, I'll keep trying little bit in Hindi. I'll not be able to completely explain in Hindi. Yes. But little bit I'll keep trying for all of you and eventually I'll feel comfortable. Okay. मेल पार्ट क्या है? मेल पार्ट होगा स्टेमन जिसमें एंथर और फिलामेंट होगा और एंथर प्रोड्यूस करेगा पोलन ग्रेन. यस, ऑल राइट. ओके, अगर डिफरेंट फ्लावर का पोलन ग्रेन किसी दूसरे फ्लावर, या वेरी गुड रुद्रा, आई वाज एक्चुअली गोइंग टू आंसर दिस पार्ट. ओके, आई विल टेल यू व्हेन आई डू पॉलिनेशन. Syngamy, I'm going to get to all of that. Let's quickly jump to the next part. Yes, let's get going. Now, of course, like you all told me, right? These are the 4 parts, okay? So, we have sepal, we have petals, yes? Then we have stamen and we have pistils, right? Yes. So, we have these 4. So, first, we learnt about sepal, petal, stamen and pistil, yes? Now, it is not that सारे flowers में हमको सारे parts मिलेंगे. There are here and there some flowers जिसमें हमको ये maybe sepal नहीं है, some flowers में petal नहीं है, ठीक है? So we see that. Now there are certain flowers जिसमें हमको stamen नहीं मिलेगा, some flowers में हमको ये pistil नहीं मिलेगा, right? And based on presence or absence of these reproductive parts, right? So based on presence of reproductive parts, right? We see that we have 2 kinds of flowers. We have bisexual flowers, right? And we have unisexual flowers, right? So can you guys tell me what is bisexual and unisexual? And in the meanwhile, I'm going to explain to them, okay? Yes, I am trying all in one. I'm trying all of you. So since I am trying to speak in Hindi, will you also in the meanwhile hit that like button? Show me your love by liking that button. Ma'am is trying in Hindi for us. So we'll also help out ma'am by liking the video, right? Yes, okay. So now of course in the meanwhile, when I'm like for those of you who are asking me, stamen that is there is the male reproductive part, right? So we see that it is the male reproductive part which has filament and which has the anther. Yes. Now anther here produces these powdery substance known as pollen grains, right? Are we clear? Yes. So in the meanwhile, you have all given me the answer. Bisexual means both stamen and pistil will be present, right? For example, in the case of hibiscus, right? We see that we find both of it. Yes, right? While in the meanwhile, in unisexual, either हमको stamen दिखेगा, right? वरना हमको pistil दिखेगा, right? Or pistil will be there. Yes, so we call these plants or such flowers को हम unisexual flowers बोलते हैं. तो cucumber plants पे हमको unisexual flowers दिखेगा, ये एक example होगा. Now जो flowers में सिर्फ stamen होगा उसको हम male flowers बोलेंगे, ठीक है? और जिसमें pistils और सिर्फ pistils मिलेगा उसको हम female flowers बोलेंगे. अब समझ में आया ये सब? I am trying. Thank you, Amit. All right, are we clear so far, everybody? Are we clear? Okay, thank you all in one, thank you. So now we know about different all of this, right? But how do plants reproduce? Yes, this is the main thing, because you know that your male gamete is all the way inside the pollen grain, right? While on the other hand, your female gamete that is there is where your female gamete is inside your ovule. Now, if you see male gamete needs to reach female gamete, no, for sexual reproduction to happen. Yes, so it's important that this goes on, which is why a very important process takes place, which is pollination, right? So all of you who are asking me, right, ma'am, pollination क्या होता है, self pollination क्या है, cross pollination क्या है, so अभी हम वो discuss करेंगे, ठीक है? So first and foremost हम pollination को समझाएंगे, ठीक है? So pollination is nothing but the transfer of pollen grains from where to where, right? From anther to stigma of a flower. So please take a screenshot of this, right? I want all of you to focus on class. Bad boy, Komal, please focus in class, okay? What do we mean by pollination? It is nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. I will tell you what is xenogamy Vidya Mandir classes in just a bit, okay? Please hold on. Yes? So this is what we mean by it. Now pollination दो तरीके से होगा. एक self pollination where we see that transfer, right? We see that transfer of pollen will take place from anther to stigma of the same flower, right? Now how will this happen? It could be because the anther and stigma are so close to each other, right? So we see that वो दोनों बहुत आसपास है, इसीलिए जब ये pollen grains, जब anther burst होगा, वो pollen grains ऐसे ही इसमें fall हो जाएंगे. So बहुत नजदीक है ये दोनों, ठीक है? इसीलिए ऐसे self pollination होगा. एक और तरीका होगा जहां पे anther to stigma of the two different flowers but of the same plant, उसको भी हम self pollination बोलेंगे. Okay, so of same flower or between two flowers of the same plant. So you need to know, right, what is the definition, right? Are we clear? Are we clear? Yes, what is gamete, right? Gamete hoga reproductive cell. And yes, I want all of your focus on the chat, on what I am teaching, right? Shreya, I am going to be getting into fertilization in just a bit. Please hold on for 5 minutes, okay? In 5 minutes, I'll get to it. Yes, are we clear? Give me a quick thumbs up. Ma'am, how does pollen grain reach stigma? In the case of self-pollination, because the pollen and the anther and the stigma are so close to each other, no? When it will burst or when the anther bursts open, the pollen will just fall there. So it's like through air or, through the pressure or force that is there, it will fall, right? So that is how self-pollination takes place. While on the other hand, right, we have cross-pollination. Lot of you are asking me for cross-pollination, so please focus here, okay? Cross-pollination is when transfer, so I'm going to use another color to write, you can make a note of this. So when transfer of pollen grain takes place between anther of one flower, okay, see what I'm writing, anther of one flower to stigma of another flower but of the same plant, okay? Very, very important. Write this definition down, right? Please write this definition down. Yes, so it's important to understand that. Anther में कितना लोब होगा? We will observe about there are totally 2 lobes. It is bilobed. Anthers are bilobed. Yes, are we clear? Komal, Shreya, bad boy, please focus in class. Please focus, right? Yes, thank you so much. What are pollen grains? They are fine powdery substances they are fine powdery substances which are produced by the anther. Angiosperms, right? Angiosperms are nothing but plants which bear flowers, okay? And we see that they produce seeds which are enclosed by fruits. Angio means closed. Sperma means it is the seeds. Closed seeds, yes? Oh, thank you so much. Ma'am, same plant or different, same kind? 2 different plants of the same kind. So, but of the same kind. Yes, thank you. I wrote same plant. It is the same kind. Sorry for that. Thank you. Yes? Are we clear? You can take a quick screenshot. Are we clear? Yes. Can pollen grains of one flower fertilize with flower of another plant? If they are of the same species, they can by cross-pollination, okay? But it's important to understand, right, that if, say, you have 2 different species, and if pollen comes and lands on a flower, some of you are asking me, no, ma'am, what will happen if some other pollen grain of some other plant altogether will come and it will fall on the stigma? Will it happen? Will pollen tube form? As a matter of fact, no. I'll tell you why. This is very interesting, okay? So what happens here is that on the surface of the stigma, so this is the stigma, no? And after pollination, it will come and it will land on the surface. Now your stigma will produce some chemicals, okay? And it will see if it is the same pollen grain of my kind or if it is a different kind of pollen grain. If it is a different kind of pollen grain and it is not belonging to the same species, no? It will not allow the pollen tube to grow. It will just come, rest there, and eventually it will not grow. Yes? So important that you understand. Okay? Okay, that's amazing, Anmol, amazing. Ma'am, in logon se disturb ho raha hai. Yes, I can see a lot of noise on the chat. Everybody, please focus in class. Right? I'll give you some time to talk in the end also. Don't worry. I'm someone who always allows that. End of the class, we can talk and we can discuss a lot of it. But now I want you to focus, okay? Yes. What are angiosperms? Now, angiosperms are nothing but those organisms, right, or those plants which bear seeds, okay, and these seeds are enclosed in fruits. Are we clear? I can see Krishna was asking me for a long time. Yes, chemotropism, yes, very good. It is chemotropism in stigma, very good. How many cells in pollen grains? We see that there are two, we find two gametes, okay. Yes, endosperm, I will explain. Yes. So now we know about cross-pollination and self-pollination, right? Now cross-pollination have various pollinating agents, okay? This is for some extra information for all of you. So we see that cross-pollination happens due to various pollinating agents. You can take a screenshot, okay? So we see that anemophily, that sometimes we see that wind, water, we see that insects, birds and bats all help in pollination, yes? So very quickly everybody take a screenshot and we're going to jump to the most important part, right? That is fertilization and double fertilization, yes? Very quickly take a screenshot. And give me a thumbs up in the chat, okay? Taken, ma'am. Very good, very good. This is for some extra information. You all are giving anthe and all of that. No, this will come handy for you then. Yes? So now we know that first step. So once a flower has bloomed, yes, we know that every part will get matured, right? So all of this will happen. Now what will happen is your pollen grain will land on your stigma, right? So pollen grain will land on your stigma. But what is going to happen after this is what we are going to visualize. So Ravi, can we switch to the software? Yes, all right. So very quickly everybody, all your focus on the screen and let's get me on the other side as well. Yes? What is going to happen post-pollination is what we are going to see, and I want your focus on the screen. I'm going to play the video. I want you to observe the video and then I want you to tell me what you are observing, okay? As 10th grade students, observation skills are very, very important, okay? Yes, all right. So now we are going to observe what will happen. So as you can see, keep observing the video. Yes, all right. So I played the video for all of you to observe, okay? I did not say anything in between because I want you to first register this video in your mind, right? And then we are going to be reading it. Yes? Yes, Aswari, I now know that, now I hope you know what is the full form of RNA. It is ribonucleic acid. Ma'am, where did you find this video? We made it here. We didn't find it. We made it here at Byju's for all of you, right? So it's important that you understand this. Yes, all right. मैंने स्कूल में ये सब देखा है. That is amazing. Very good. Shall we watch this once again and understand all of the pointers? Right? Yes, very good. Very good. So now you see at Byju's, we're always thinking about you. No, we always want the best of it. So go tell your friends. This is where everything, all the magic happens. So now as we know, post-pollination. No, so I will not be able to pause it, but I'm going to explain as you see. When pollination takes place or post-pollination, we know that the pollen grain will land on the surface of the stigma, right? It has landed on the stigma. Now what happens is that the pollen tube will start to form. Now some of you are asking me, ma'am, what is the difference, right? So you were telling me, ma'am, what is the difference between pollination and pollen germination? Write this down, and I'm going to write it on the slide as well. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from anther to stigma, alright? That is pollination. Pollen germination is when the pollen lands on the stigma and pollen tube forms, right? So pollen tube that is there, we see that from the stigma, a pollen tube will form down. And we see that this pollen tube will descend from the stigma all the way to the style. It will reach where? It will reach the ovule, right? Through the ovary, it is going to reach the ovule. And your pollen tube is germinating to carry your male gametes as you observe, right? Are you able to observe this? You're able to see male gametes go along the pollen tube and they reach the ovule, right? And why is it all this happening? So that the process of fertilization can take place, right? So it's very, very important that you understand this. Are we clear on how exactly your pollen tube is being formed? We are clear with this, no? All right, so now we're going to switch back and I'm going to continue with the explanation, okay? Right. So now once we see that the pollen tube has germinated, we see that once the pollen tube has germinated, it's growing down the style, reaching the ovary, we know that your gametes are also going. And we know that the fusion of male and female gametes is what we call as fertilization. And it results in the formation of zygote, okay? So this is what we understand. So this is what we mean by fertilization. But very quickly, can you tell me what all definitions do you need? I'll write it. Do you want me to write the definition of pollination and pollen tube germination? Do you want these two definitions? Yes? Do you need this? Can we get this video? I will try to. Otherwise, you can watch it on the channel. You can come back and watch it also. Okay? Okay, I'm going to quickly write this down. So two very important definitions for all of you. Pollination. It is nothing but transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of a flower, right? Now what is the difference, or what is pollen tube germination? No? Or pollen tube germination. Yes, what do we mean by this? Pollen tube germination is the growth of pollen tube from the stigma into the style that carries the male gametes. Don't ever write male gamete, okay? This is male gametes because you saw that there were two, no? Write this down or take a definition. I mean, take a screenshot, sorry. Yes. ये स्टिग्मा स्टिकी क्यों होता है? ताकि वो पोलन ग्रेन्स जो होगा ना वो लैंड होके वहां पे स्टिक होना चाहिए, वरना जो क्या होगा, पोलन ग्रेन्स आएंगे, ये स्टिग्मा स्टिकी नहीं है तो ऐसे ही वो उठ जाएगा. अगर विंड या कोई और नेचुरल फैक्टर होगा तो वो स्टिक नहीं करेगा. इसीलिए कई तरह और इन सर्टेन प्लांट्स में हम ऑब्जर्व करेंगे कि ये स्टिग्मा स्टिकी होता है. ठीक है मैम, थक नहीं होते? नहीं, आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड टू बी विथ ऑल ऑफ यू. I have way too much energy. Okay, what are gametes? Gametes are nothing but reproductive cells. Okay, they are reproductive cells. Okay, all right. So now, very quickly, everybody, any more doubts? Are we clear? Shall we move on to the next part where we learn more about fertilization? You can take a screenshot. I will be sharing with you I'll be sharing this with you in the Telegram channel as well, right? Okay, all right. Can I write the definition of gymnosperms and angiosperms towards the end? Can I do that? Because it's a little away from what we are learning right now. Yes? All right, very good. Ma'am, can you name the channel? 9th and 10th grade channel, right? We are in this. Ma'am, can pollen grains get stuck in style? See, I'll tell you what happens. A lot of you are telling, no, ma'am, what's happening? How is it exactly growing? So as the pollen grain, the tube grows, no, it actually makes way for itself. You imagine if you are drilling have you seen cartoons? Let me give you an easier example, okay? Have you seen cartoons where sometimes they'll have, like, there are these, cartoon characters which will dig caves like this. It will dig and keep making way for itself, no? So it's important that you understand. So just like that, the pollen tube also grows in such a way that it makes way for itself, right? And it will transport it. Yes, Isha, please tell me what is your doubt. Please bataiye. Ma'am, how does pollen grain generate pollen tube? There are a lot of chemical reactions, right, that helps in the growth of it, right? So that's how it happens. Ma'am, work of stamen. Stamen is responsible for producing pollen grains, right? Yes. What does ovary convert into? It will convert into fruit, and we will learn about it. Manju, please wait on for 5 minutes. Isha, aapka doubt bataiye, please. How can we get that video? We will have to ask our team. SST, हाँ ठीक है, SST का डाउट्स आप प्लीज कमेंट्स पर डालिए, क्योंकि अभी बायो का क्लास चल रहा है, तो अभी हम बायो में फोकस करेंगे. आप SST का जो भी क्वेरी है इस वीडियो के कमेंट्स पे आप डालिए, मैं टीम से बताऊंगी और एड्रेस करूंगी. ओके, ऑल राइट. yes, maybe Ramji, maybe. Okay, does pollen grain consist of male gametes? The pollen grain, yes, it consists of male gametes. Yes, all right. Okay. Ma'am, I am going to mix Hindi and English so that both of you understand. All right. Okay, let's get going. So now it has come, pollen tube has grown, and now our gametes have reached the ovule. Now you remember I told you inside the ovule we have the embryo sac, right? How many of you remember the embryo sac? How many of you remember this? I'm going to explain this only for those of you who are asking me, ma'am, what is double fertilization? How many of you remember the embryo sac? Yes, Ramji, okay, all right. I am from Bangalore. Very good, you remember embryo sac, right? When we discussed? Yes, all right. So now in this case, when you look at the embryo sac, we saw that in the embryo sac, no? Okay, let me do one thing. I'll go to the slide which has embryo sac. It gets easy to explain. So we learned about this when we were talking about the embryo sac. Now what happens is that your male gametes will enter into the embryo sac. And here we see that we have egg cell, right, which is your female gamete. You have two cells here. Now these two cells are known as your synergids, okay, extra information only. What you also need to focus on are these cells which are your polar nuclei. Now your polar nuclei are located more or less in the center, okay, and we see that they together form the central cell. So polar nuclei will come together forming the central cell. I'll explain in English and I'll explain once in Hindi also for those of you who are struggling a little. And these are your antipodal cells, okay? So you find all these cells just inside your embryo sac, okay? Yes, Madhav, I have labeled the antipodal cells, okay. So in this case, right, so it's important that you understand. So embryo sac एक स्ट्रक्चर है जो ओव्यूल के अंदर होगा, ओके, और उसमें हमको ये सभी सेल्स दिखाएंगे, ठीक है. सो हमको मेन इंपॉर्टेंट फीमेल गैमीट जो है वो एग सेल है, उसके आजू बाजू में हमको सिनर्जिड्स देखेगा. सेंटर ऑफ द ओव्यूल में वी विल ऑब्जर्व पोलर न्यूक्लियाई, और ये पोलर न्यूक्लियाई दो न्यूक्लियाई होगा, ठीक है, और वो न्यूक्लियाई सराउंड करेगा और ये दोनों टुगेदर हम सेंट्रल सेल बुलाएंगे. अगर आप पोलर न्यूक्लियाई ही बताएंगे और वो भी चलेगा, जस्ट सम एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन सेंट्रल सेल, राइट. और ऊपर का जो सेल्स होंगे वो एंटीपोडल सेल्स हैं. एंटीपोडल सेल्स का क्या वर्क है? वो वेरी सिंपल. एंटीपोडल सेल्स विल इवेंचुअली हेल्प इन प्रोवाइडिंग न्यूट्रिशन. सो इन द overall development that happens post fertilization, antipodal cells are important, okay? Okay, all right. Yes, everybody, are we clear? I'm coming to that point on true fruits and fall fruits, but structure is clear, no? Now what happens is that, let's see, yes. So what happens is that once the nucleus, right, or once the pollen tube enters and the male gamete comes, we see that one male gamete, okay, will fuse with the egg cell and it will result in the formation of zygote. Yes, while on the other hand, when we talk about the second male gamete, we see that this second male gamete will fuse with your polar nuclei. Why am I saying nuclei? Because there are two of it, forming PEN, which is called as the primary endosperm nucleus, okay, which is also what we call as PEN. Now we see that this zygote will eventually develop in forming the embryo, while the endosperm nucleus here will form the endosperm. Now what do we observe? We observe that fusion is taking place 2 times. So this kind of fusion, where we see that fusion is taking place twice, we call this as double fertilization, right? So this is very, very important to understand. So again quickly हिंदी में मैं बताऊंगी. So जब male gamete embryo sac reach करेगा, एक male gamete egg cell के साथ fuse होके zygote बनेगा. वो दूसरा मेल गैमीट जो है वो पोलर न्यूक्लियाई के साथ फ्यूज करके प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस बनेगा, और ये जाइगोट जो है आगे वो एम्ब्रियो बनेगा, राइट, विच विल बिकम इनटू योर बेबी प्लांट, और ये प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस जो है वो एंडोस्पर्म बनेगा फ्यूचर में, ठीक है. यस, ऑल राइट. एंड इसको क्योंकि 2 टाइप और 2 टाइप्स ऑफ फर्टिलाइजेशन, और वी सी दैट फ्यूजन इज हैपनिंग ट्वाइस, ये प्रोसेस को हम डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन बोलेंगे. Synergids, right? No, it's not synergin, it is synergids, okay? All right. Now this fusion, a lot of you are asking me, right? We see that some of you are asking me, ma'am, what is syngamy? Syngamy is the fusion of male gamete with your egg cell that will eventually form zygote. Now you know that your reproductive cells are haploid, right? That means that it will have only half the nucleus. So for a lot of you who are telling me, ma'am, haploid क्या होता है? Haploid एक condition होता है जहां पे सिर्फ half the number of nucleus, right? Half the number, not nucleus, half the number of chromosomes, sorry. Half the number of chromosomes मिलेगा, or half the set. So here we have N and N, right? So you have half the number and that's how you represent it, yes? And this will come together and form 2N. This is one type of fertilization. Now you have triple fusion. Now what is triple fusion? एक मेल गैमीट है जिसके पास हैप्लॉइड है, बट हमारे पास 2 पोलर न्यूक्लियाई है, which means this has 2N. एक N एक न्यूक्लियस पे है और दूसरा हैप्लॉइड वो एक और न्यूक्लियस पे है. तो अभी टोटल क्या बनेगा प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस पे? 3N, राइट? और ये प्राइमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस फ्यूचर में एंडोस्पर्म बनेगा, ठीक है? ऑल राइट, टेक अ क्विक स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ दिस. Are we clear, everybody? Are we clear? Yes? Okay. What is half the number of chromosomes? So if you remember, in our body we have 46 chromosomes, no? So this means that we have both pairs of it. But if we have only 23, which we see in the sperm and the egg cells, we see that there is only half of it, half of 46. That is what we mean by this, okay? Explain syngamy once again. Syngamy is the kind of fertilization wherein male gamete fuses with the egg cell which is present inside the embryo sac, right? Yes. Now some of you are asking me, ma'am, what is endosperm, right? How many of you are confused with endosperm? And how many of you are confused, ma'am, endosperm क्या है और ये cotyledon क्या है? इन दोनों में difference क्या है? How many of you think of this? What is the difference between endosperm and cotyledons? How many of you think about this? Okay. In the meanwhile of how many of you telling me, right? Triple fusion is when the second male gamete will fuse with the 2 polar nuclei, right? It will fuse with the polar nuclei and it will form primary endosperm nucleus. Yes, ma'am, I don't know what is cotyledon. Okay. No problem. If those of you who are confused with cotyledon, I'll tell you once again. We will spend maximum amount of time here only because the rest of the thing is always easy. The rest of it is very simple, right? Yes, all right, very good. See, I also had this doubt when I was a child, okay? I didn't know the difference. It's very simple. Now, your endosperm that is there is a structure wherein we see that food is stored, okay? It provides, or it is a reservoir of food, or I'll say it is a food storing structure. Now we see that in the case of maybe plants like beans and pea plants, no? What happens is that when the embryo is growing, the baby plant is growing, it will use up all the endosperm, all the food reserve to grow and develop, right? So as in when the seed is forming is what I am telling, okay? During seed formation, we see that this endosperm will get utilized, yes? And we see that all this endosperm will be used. Eventually, we see that in the case of beans and pea, we will not really observe endosperm, but rather they will have a structure known as cotyledon, wherein the food will be stored. But in some plants like maize, right, we see that the endosperm is not entirely utilized, which is why when the seed is fully developed, we will still see endosperm, right? So I hope now you know. Yes? Yes, I will be little more slow, okay? I'll be more slow. So ma'am, what happens to synergids? All these other cells which are there, no, your focus, all the other cells will just help in the growth and development of the seed and the other cells, but it will not really be contributing to the growth of the embryo or the storage part, right? Yes, all right. Are we clear? What happens to the synergids? I hope now you are clear. Ma'am, आप chart read कर रहे हो? हाँ, मैं read कर रही हूँ. Okay. It's simple now, kind of. Do you want me to recall this whole concept once again? Right from the beginning, do you want me to do it like a recall? Yes, you can tell me. Yes, please tell me. I'm going to quickly do it if you need it. All right. Okay, give me a quick thumbs up on the chat so that I know what to do. Otherwise, we'll get going ahead if you're sure of it. Yes, sure. No, I got it. So shall I just do it? Because this is very important. Baby ko stomach mein food. So anything related, please. Okay, I'm going to keep this and I'm going to add a slide, okay? All right, so I think we are here. So let me just add a slide and remove all of this. Okay. So let me just add a quick blank slide and we will call it as a recall. So for all of you who are confused, I will explain this, don't worry. I'll take 2 minutes of your time, not more than that, okay? So now you know that your anther that is there. So I'm going to draw it with some diagrams so that it gets easy. So you know that this is your stamen, which has filament and it has anther. And now we know that this produces some pollen grains also, right? And your pollen grains consist of your male gamete. Now we also know that this is the pistil, right? So this right here is the pistil. Yes, and inside the pistil, what do we find? We'll find the ovules. Now we need to be concerned only about ovules. So now we know that by the process of pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma, right? And we know that there are various types. So this right here is by the process of pollination, right? I want you to focus on screen, okay? Because I'm not reading the chat right now. Yes? So once the pollen grain lands on the stigma, we see that it forms a pollen tube, right? So we see that there is pollen tube formation. And we see that this pollen tube will now transport the male gametes all the way till the ovule. Now inside the ovule, what we will observe is the embryo sac, right? Now inside your embryo sac, you have the egg cell, right? So we have the egg cell. Then on either side of the egg cell, we see that we have the synergids that are there. And here we have the polar nuclei. Yes, so we have the polar nuclei and on top we have the antipodal cells. Yes. Now in this case, we see that once the male gametes will reach the embryo sac, we see here that, maybe let me use a white color itself, the first male gamete will fuse, right? Will fuse with the egg cell to form the zygote, okay? While on the other hand, the second male gamete will fuse with the polar nuclei. Let me just write that again. With the polar nuclei to form the primary endosperm nucleus. Yes, which we also call as PEN, right? And this will eventually form the endosperm. I know it's going behind me, but you can quickly have a look. So it forms the endosperm, right? So it is important that you understand this. Now this first fusion of male gamete with egg cell is what we call as syngamy, right? While here, this particular fusion of two polar nuclei with the male gamete is what we call as triple fusion. And in both cases, because the fusion is happening twice, we call this whole process as double fertilization. Are we clear, everyone? Are we clear now? Yes? For all of you who have gotten distracted in the meanwhile, that ma'am, I was sure, but you were anyway explaining, right? Yes, okay. All right. Are we clear? Please remove the background. Okay, I'll not be able to remove it now, but when I send it to you on the PDF, I can remove it and send it to you. Yes? Okay, all right. So you can just quickly rewind and you can watch it, and I'm going to move ahead to the next part. Okay? Thank you, Anjali. Thank you. Yes. So everybody, if you have understood so far, right, and you're able to understand, yes, are you able to give me a quick thumbs up in the chat? Now all the concepts have become easy. Yes? Hindi mein please. All right. Once you, yes, I will send it to you. Okay, I'll send it to you on the chat. Don't worry. Yes, okay. Explain once again. Dhruv, Very Gamer, I have it on screen. Ravi, can we bring back the screen? Yes, all right. See, double fertilization is when fertilization takes place twice. This happens when one male gamete fuses with the egg cell to give us zygote. Second fertilization or second time fusion takes place is when second gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei, right? So it is fusing with two polar nuclei. When it fuses with the polar nuclei, it will give you PEN, which is your primary endosperm nucleus that develops into the endosperm. And because totally we have two polar nuclei fusing with a haploid cell, we call this as triple fusion. Yes? And this whole process is what we call as double fertilization. Alright everybody, so this was a quick recall. Now we know fertilization has happened and we know that zygote is formed, right? Now after zygote, we know, right, that this zygote has to now develop and become into embryo, right? So what is happening after this? Yes? Thank you so much everybody. Thank you Arushi. Thank you all for being so kind to me, right? So let's all focus on the class now, okay? How to get PDF? Please get registered on our Telegram channel. Link is there in the description box. Define zygote. Zygote is the result of fusion of male and female gamete, right? What is embryo? Embryo can be simply defined as baby plant, right? We'll learn about embryo in just a bit, don't worry. What is placenta? Placenta is the tissue that attaches your ovule to the ovary, okay? Hindi mein. All right, so I will do it once again towards the end, okay? Towards the end, I will do it in Hindi, but let's quickly move ahead, all right? So, अभी double fertilization हो गया और fertilization के बाद क्या होगा? उस process को हम post fertilization changes होंगे, ठीक है? So now we know that there are various parts which are now not really needed by the plant, right? अभी flower में बहुत सारे parts हैं जिसका काम खत्म हो गया, right? So what all parts of the flower are done with their work? Yes, can you tell me? What all parts are done with their work? Can you tell me? Yes? जिसका काम खत्म हो गया अभी उसका कोई नहीं है, right? Yes, no Aisha, I'm not ignoring any of you. Please don't say that. For human reproduction session has already been done by Ankita ma'am. Please do check it out on the channel. Stamen का काम खत्म हो गया. Yes, very good. बाकी किस part का काम खत्म हो गया अभी? Anther is done. Yes, very good. Petals is done. Yeah, petals work is done. Yes. Sepals are also done. No, sepals are not needed. Yeah. Yes, very good, very good. So all of them are done with their work. So in this case, all that remains is your ovary and ovule, right? Only this is left. So now what happens is that this ovule, which now consists of the baby plant or the embryo, will develop into the seed. Yes, while on the other hand, the ovary that is there will now develop into the fruit. Okay. So basically all the other parts that are there, like your stamen, petals, sepals, stamen, style, stigma, everything will shrivel down, right? Or they will fall off. उसका काम खत्म हो गया, अभी वो shrivel होगा और नीचे गिर जाएगा, ठीक है? उसका they are all dead now. Now you're left with your fruit, right? So your this part, that is in the case of your flowering, in the case of your fruit, the fruit is nothing but the ripened ovary, and your seed is nothing but the ovule. And inside the seed, right, if you see, there will be some structure like this, yes? And this is your embryo, which will now grow into a new plant, right? Yes, all right. Ma'am, non-flowering plants do not reproduce. Not the case. Non-flowering plants do reproduce. Like in the case of gymnosperms, they do. They just don't have flowers, but instead they have cones, okay? All right. Yes. Yes, Akhtar Khan. Yes, all right. Okay, I'm taking your name as well. So let's all focus. Let's all focus on this. I'm drawing a seed. It's a very rough seed, okay? Nanda, I have answered your question also. So please, let's focus. Okay. Now, Pratigya has asked a very interesting question, right? She's asked what's the difference between true fruit and false fruit. Now, before I get to this question, I want to know what do you want to register for? Can you tell me that? Is it how to register for Telegram? Are you asking me how to register for Telegram? Is that what you are asking me? Because you're saying, ma'am, how to register, but what to register? Yes, how to register for Telegram. Okay, so in the description of this video, if you see, you will find a link. Okay, so I'm going to open this here itself in my phone. So in the description box, right, if you scroll down all the way till the bottom, you'll have to scroll a little bit. Okay, so in this case, if you see, you will find join our Telegram channel option. So scroll, 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 and you will find join our Telegram channel option. Click on that and join the Telegram one, and they have also sent it on the chat. So just click on this link. Okay. All right. So now, of course, we know that this right here is the seed and this right here is the fruit that is there. Now, a lot of you asked me a question on, ma'am, what is the difference between true fruit and false fruit, right? Now, true fruits are those fruits which develop from the ripened ovary. So when an ovary ripens and matures to become a fruit, we call it as a true fruit. So in the case of guavas and in the case of, watermelons, or maybe if you take a simple example like a tomato, they are all examples of true fruits. While false fruits are those where other parts of the flower, right? So other parts of the flower become fleshy so that it is edible for us and develop, or they become into fruits, is what we call as false fruits. For example, your apples, right? So apples, the fleshy part of apples that we eat, right? We see that they are nothing but the ripened thalamus that is there. The thalamus of the flower will ripen and become the fruit. And the ovary is actually that inner hard part that is there. It will not ripen and become the fruit, right? So it's important. Okay. So now, of course, everybody, for those of you who haven't understood true and false fruit, I'm going to explain it once in Hindi. True fruits वो होगा जिसमें ovary ripen होके और ovary mature होके वो actually एक fruit होगा, उसको हम true fruit बोलते हैं. False fruit जो है वो तरह का fruits होते हैं जहाँ पे ovary ripen नहीं होता है. वरना otherwise you see that thalamus या कोई other part जो fleshy होगा वो राइपन होके और जो एडिबल होगा उसको हम कंज्यूम करेंगे, उसको हम फॉल्स फ्रूट बोलेंगे. ठीक है. ऑल राइट. आई एम कौन से देश से हो? आई एम फ्रॉम हियर ओनली, राइट? इट्स जस्ट दैट आई एम गेटिंग अ लिटिल फ्लुएंट. आई एम लर्निंग हाउ टू बी फ्लुएंट इन हिंदी. Yes, all right. Okay. So are you asking me what is sexual reproduction? It's nothing but when two parents are involved, right? Yes, Shaurya. Yes. All right. Mango, true or false? It is true fruit. Okay? Yes. All right. So now very quickly we're going to look at seeds, right? So now seeds, as you know, right? We know that in the case of seeds, we know that we have two kinds of seeds. We have monocot seeds as well as we have dicot seeds. But before I go ahead, you all want to say a quick hi to Ankita ma'am. She's right here. Yes?
Hi. I am just leaving. Hi everyone. I was leaving and I came to say bye to ma'am.
Yes, see, they're all there.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, ma'am is going back home. It's Karwa Chauth, right? So ma'am is rushing. Bye. Okay, everybody. So very quickly, a lot of you are asking me, ma'am, what is dicot seed and monocot seed? See, we've learned this in 7th grade, okay? So it's very simple, right? So dicot seeds are those seeds which have two cotyledons, right? So we see that they have two cotyledons. Ma'am, what are cotyledons? They are nothing but those structures which store food, okay? So these are structures which store food for the growing embryo, right? While on the other hand, in the case of monocot seeds, like in the case of maize, we see that there will only be a single cotyledon, right? So we see that there will only be one cotyledon. And in this case, instead, they will also have endosperm, right? But in dicot seeds, we know that during their development, the endosperm has been consumed by the growing ovule or the developing ovule, which is why now they have only two cotyledons. Yes? All right. Okay, are we clear? Examples. Yes, bean seed is an example of dicot seed. Maize is an example of monocot seed. Are we clear? Yes. Shaurya, why do you want to know? I mean, it doesn't matter, no? And in the end, of course, these seeds, right? This small seed will undergo a process known as seed germination. And of course, we see that it will grow into a new plant, right? So this is all that you need to know. This is very simple and easy. We'll wind up our class by quickly looking at some questions which had appeared for the NEET exam from the topic of fertilization and double fertilization, okay? So can we quickly have a look at this question? I want you to give me the answer. Chromosome number in flowering plants, okay? Remember double fertilization can be haploid, diploid and polyploid, haploid and diploid, only diploid or only haploid, right? So can you quickly give me the answer? Can we have a YouTube poll for this with ABCD, Ravi? So we'll run a YouTube poll, okay? And in the meanwhile, for those of you who have a doubt, ma'am, please speak slowly. Yes, I'm trying, okay? But sometimes I do speak fast, I know that. Okay. So cotyledons are nothing but seed leaves, okay? We see that they are seed leaves, or they are called as seed leaves also, the first seed leaves, which are responsible for storing food. Yes? All right. Okay, I think we are not able to get the poll option. It's okay. Just give me the answer in the chat. Okay, Ravi. All right, answer is A, D. I'm getting a mix of options from here. Very quickly, everyone, these are questions from NEET. So if you are aspiring to write ANTE, you're aspiring to write NSO, you are aspiring to write NEET in the future, you need to know this. Very good, very good. Yes, all right, wonderful. The correct answer is A. But I also want you to tell me why you voted for A. Okay, why did all my wonderful students vote for A? What is the reason behind choosing haploid, diploid and polyploid, right? Yes, you can sleep now only in 2 minutes. After, I have only 5 questions from this and we'll wind up the chapter. We are done, right? Why did you all vote for option A? Can you tell me the reason behind this? Give me the reason. Very good, yes. All right. I can see that you are all trying to give the answers. I'm going to give 1 more minute, okay? Single fertilization and multiple fertilization. I chose B because I don't know what is polyploidy. Okay, all right. Yes. Okay, Ravi, from the next question we can do. Because triple fusion, yes, very good, right? Wonderful. So see, haploid is the condition we see in the gametes, right? So gametes are said to be haploid because we know that they have only half of it, right? They have only half the number of chromosomes. In the case of zygote, we know that it is formed as a result of fusion, so they are diploid. And we know that there is polyploid. So we know that in the case of PEN, that is your primary endosperm nucleus, right? We know that here, oh, I wrote diploid and diploid twice. So we know that in the case of primary endosperm nucleus, it is triple N or triple fusion, right? Which is why it is polyploid as well. Very good, very good. Why do we say fission when we see daughter cell? See, fission we say when a single parent cell will split to give you 2 daughter cells, we say fission, right? So that is what we mean by it. So in this particular class, we are not going to be discussing exam related. We'll do PYQs later on, Aswari. Okay? Yes. And for those of you who are asking me who I am, you might be new to the class, right? So I'm Aishwarya, right? So that's my name. Okay? And all of you, I hope that you have hit that like button and you have not forgotten to like this video. Now next question, very simple and easy. Double fertilization is fusion of what? Very easy for all of you. Two eggs and polar nuclei with pollen nuclei. One male gamete with egg and other with synergid. One male gamete with egg and other with secondary nucleus. What is happening here? So the poll is live. You can vote on the YouTube poll, okay? Very good, very good. Yes, all right. I can see 82 of you are here, but only 27 votes. What is this? Everybody, very quickly. All right, wonderful, wonderful. Take your time with this and you can give me the answer, right? Yes. Okay, Aswari, see, you are writing the boards this year and we are going to see. Stay subscribed to our channel. See, in our channel, Jeet Ka Josh series is not for any other reason. Jeet Ka Josh is for your board prep, right? So please make sure that you stay subscribed. And okay, I'm going to wind up the polls very soon. I'm going to count to 5 maybe. So 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, right? Yes, very good. So 54 of you have given me the answer as A. Double fertilization is fusion of two eggs. Or is it one male gamete with egg and the other with the secondary nucleus? The correct answer is D, guys. What happened? What happened? Yes? How many of you did not read it properly? How many of you have gotten confused? How many got confused with the options? See, these are all NEET questions, okay? They will appear in NEET exam. I chose D, ma'am. Oh, sorry. Okay. Some of you got confused. See, double fertilization is fusion of what? We know that it is when fusion takes place twice, right? So we see that in this case, fusion happens first when one male gamete will fuse with the egg cell. No, and this is what we call as syngamy. This is when the second male gamete will fuse with the secondary nucleus. See, they've used another fancy term, which is nothing but your polar nuclei, okay? Polar nuclei or your central cell. Yes? So even if you didn't know what was secondary nucleus, look at the other options. They don't make sense, no? Which is why in this case, we see that the correct answer here is option D. Please make a note of this. Read it, okay? Read the question thoroughly. All right? Okay, thank you, Arushi, thank you. Now, next question. Movement of pollen grain towards embryo sac is what? Thermotactic, phototactic, chemotactic, or thigmotactic? See, even if you don't know what tactic means, if you use just little bit common sense, no, this is going to be very easy. Just think of it very logically. I'm telling you, it's very easy. What is the correct answer for this? Yes? I did not get poll. Please refresh your chat once. You will be able to do it. Ma'am, are you a teacher of bio? Yes, I am. Very, very much. I am a bio teacher. Okay. I'll do a doubt board again towards the end. Okay. For those of you who are asking me some doubts, I'll do it towards the end because I can see Pratigya is asking me a doubt, so I'll probably do. Ma'am, can this be form of tropism? Think of it like that. Tropic. See, tactic, tropic. It's tropism is when we talk about it in terms of plant movement, right? Yes, all right. Very good, very good. All right, I'm going to wind up the votes now. Yes. All right, everybody. So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's close the polls. Very good, very good. So, I'm going to wrap the polls and I can see that almost 54% of you have voted for option C. Yes, very good. For using it logically, I will give you a star mark, right? If I was there with you physically, I would have given all of you one star. So, chemotactic, right? Because we know that, like all of you were saying, ma'am, chemotropism, right? So, when we talk about chemotropism, we know that it's a tropic movement in response to chemicals. And in this case, also the pollen tube is able to germinate because of the same reason, right? So, it's important to understand that, okay? Now, moving on to the next one. Now this again should be easy. In double fertilization, male gamete and secondary nucleus will together form what? It will form endosperm, or it will eventually form endosperm, gamete, embryo or egg. Yes? Ma'am, chai chahiye, star nahi. Done. Ma'am, I did not get poll. We will get the poll. Okay? Ravi is putting the poll on the chat. Yeah, it's the next one. We can add the poll. Yes, thank you. I can see answers coming in. Very good, very good. All right, everybody on the screen. In double fertilization. I think by the time Ravi puts the poll, they'll be answering. You can answer in the poll as well. Okay, Ravi has added it. So you can answer me in the poll for those of you who are getting it. They're all saying hi, Ravi, as well. Very good. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds and we'll wind up. Yes. Oh, that's amazing, Aswari. This will really help you then if you're taking NEET Bio, right? Very good. So I'm going to wind this up in 3, 2, 1 and let's close the polls. So Ravi is our chat moderator, okay, right? He's here with us. He's helping set everything up. So he's right here. Wonderful. So we know male gamete when fuses with secondary nucleus will give you your primary endosperm nucleus that eventually develops into your endosperm. Now, oh, so easy, so easy. Endosperm of flowering plants develop from what? They develop from a haploid nucleus, from a diploid nucleus, from triploid nucleus or tetraploid nucleus. Yes? What is the answer for this? If you got this part, no, the rest of it is very easy. This is the last question, question number 5. Yes, all right. Okay, Ravi is our chat moderator. He's in the room with us, right? He's very silent, yeah, he's very quiet. Very good. I can see the answers, 43 votes in, right? And everybody very quickly, in the meanwhile, you enjoyed today's class. No, we're learning so many interesting things. So don't forget to like and, hit that subscribe button. Now with all of you, as I keep coming regularly, I'll also keep practicing my Hindi. You can also help me with my Hindi, okay? In case if you tell me, ma'am, you have to look into this and that, you can also help me with it so that I also feel more comfortable teaching in Hindi, right? Yes, very good. Okay, now 5 more seconds and we'll wind up. So in 3, 2, 1 and let's close the poll. Yes? Very good. Hey, why some of you got confused with option A? Correct answer is C. How many of you got confused with this? How many of you got confused with this question, right? What happened? This is very easy. We were discussing this, no, all this while. In the beginning also we discussed this. Yeah, some of you got confused. See, we are talking about endosperm of flowering plants. Endosperm develops from your PEN, your primary endosperm nucleus. Yes? So this develops from your PEN and this is formed as a result of fusion of your polar nuclei, that is 2N. Right? When this fuses with what? When this fuses with the male gamete, which is N. So it is triploid. Tri means triploid, that means 3, right? Which is why in this case the correct answer is option C. Yes? All right. So with this, I hope that all of you are clear with all the concepts that we discussed, right? So I hope that we are clear. Now, one thing I can see around 80 students are still in the class. I want a quick question. I want a quick thing from all of you. How many of you want to know how to draw the structure of the flower, the cross section of the flower right now? If you have 5 more minutes, I'll quickly teach you how to draw the structure of the flower. Do you want it now or do you want a separate class? You can tell me yes or no. So Ravi, can we have a yes or no poll right now? You vote and tell me. I am very like this. Yes, I want to draw. I want it right now. Then mark yes on the poll. Just put yes or no. Ma'am, why daughter cell and not something else? It's kind of like asking ma'am why Sunday and not daughter day, right? हाँ, मैं try करती हूँ थोड़ा, ठीक है? अभी स्टार्ट कर दिया है मैंने थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलने के लिए. आगे जब कंफर्टेबल हो जाऊंगी तो ज्यादा हिंदी में बात करूंगी. ओके? Oh, so many yeses are there. Done. I will do it now then. 91% are saying yes. But you have to stay in the class, okay? You should not be like, ma'am is drawing, I'll go and come back. Now, Pratigya, can you send, okay, let me just check. Ma'am, I have a doubt. Plants get nutrition through roots, but seeds are packed. They do not have any nutrition. See, seeds are packed, but they also have structures known as cotyledons, which are reserve food materials, right? Which is why we know that they are able to get the nutrition from the cotyledons, okay? Yes, okay. So I'm going to keep this and I'm going to quickly draw the structure. So let me just add a slide here. We'll put a simple one, right? We don't need a very complicated one. So now we will learn how to draw the structure of the flower, right? Yes, all right. Ma'am, I will learn to, yes, see, just like how I learn Hindi from you, if you guys are feeling little, ma'am, I don't feel confident about English, I will help you with English also. So, we'll help each other out, throughout throughout our rest of the year. So, all of you, if you have your notebooks and pens with you, you can also draw it with me, okay? Now, when I draw the structure of the flower, I actually draw it in a very easy way. So, what I draw first is, I draw the pistil, okay? Because we know that the pistil is the innermost structure. So as you can see, I am drawing the pistil first. And if you want to remember the structure of the pistil, you can always remember it to be a, like a vase shape. Think of a flower vase. So you have a long flower vase, yes, which has a swollen base like this. Oops, that does not look good. So let me just draw it nicely. See, this is a lot more easier if you have pen and paper, so please make sure that you use pencil and paper, right? Okay, this part is not coming as much as I want. Yeah, it looks something like this, okay? So it's not looking very nice right now. Yeah, so I'll just draw it once again. I'm not very happy. So draw the pistil and you can draw a long version of it. Okay, now next part that you need to draw are the stamens. So from here, draw the filament, okay? So thin filaments you can draw. You can draw 2, you can draw 4, up to you, but you need to just draw the stamens, yes? So you can draw the stamens in the side. I'm using some different colors so that you are able to see. And we know that stamens have anther, which is bilobed. So now you have drawn this. Now what I'll draw next is, I'm not drawing it in order, okay? That's why. So now I'll draw my sepals, which are these green leafy structures. Yes? So I'm going to draw this and I'll draw my stalk, right? So here you can draw these green leafy structures. So these are your sepals, right? Yes. Will NTSC, so Kriti ma'am has already, right? Kriti ma'am has already made a video on this. You can check it out. NTSC will not be happening at the moment, right? Yes. So now we have drawn this much, no? Now last but not the least, you have to just draw the petals. So it's not very easy to draw in PowerPoint, okay? It's a little tough, which is why sometimes it's not looking very great, right? So, but I'm trying my best, right? So now you will draw these brightly colored structures. All right. Then you can draw these parts. Now, if you want to make it look a little fancy, I always suggest this. You can draw these lines also. You can draw lines like this, and like that. Now, all you need to do is to fill up the details. So, inside we know that we have ovule in the cross section. So, you can draw these ovules in this manner. Yes. So, I can darken it also like this, okay, so that you make the ovules prominent. I hope now in the meanwhile you are all not talking. See, oh, how sweet. We have Leonardo da Vinci. I don't think it looks that great also, okay, but thank you. You all very sweet. Yes, so you have your ovules as well. See, structure of a flower is very easy. Ma'am, I am so confused. I didn't get everything about this topic. Aditya, if you're very confused, please rewind this video and watch it again. And again, like I told you, so we've done the important topics separately, and tomorrow Ankita ma'am will be taking a one-shot on this chapter, right? So it is important that you make sure that you attend that class also. Thank you, thank you. Now you have to label also. See, draw a neat label diagram. No? So you will label it. So in this case, we will start with labeling the pedicel, right? So we have pedicel, then we have thalamus, right? Then you can label the sepals here, right? Now, always make it a point to label on one side of it. Now, I started labeling on my right side, so I might cover the content, but I'll try to label it on the left side, okay? So, I marked, let me label it on sepals on this side. So, you have sepals, and preferably at all times when you are labeling, label towards your left, okay? Now, you need to label these parts. So, you can label all the pistil parts towards one side. So, let's keep the right side for pistil. But now let's label the petals. Then you have the filament. And you can label the anther. And once you label these two, make a box like this and write stamen, right? Which is why I told you can label the pistil on the other side. So here you have stigma. Here you have style, then you have the ovary, and inside you have the ovule, right? And all these three will be part of your pistil. Yes? And no diagram is complete without a heading. So, cross section of a flower. So, you need to always write your heading, right? So you can take a quick screenshot of this, everybody. Yes, all right. So with this, of course, what is receptacle? Thalamus, another name for thalamus is receptacle, right? Okay, I think I've got the spelling wrong. Yes, okay. Are we clear, everyone? Yes, are we clear? Or did we all sleep in between? Ma'am, when you were drawing, I decided to take a small nap. How can I get the notes? I will be sharing it with you on Telegram channel, so don't worry, right? And of course, if you like what we do, right, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, right? Yes. मैम फिलामेंट क्या होता है? फिलामेंट एक लॉन्ग ट्यूबुलर स्ट्रक्चर है जो एंथर और बेस ऑफ द फ्लावर को कनेक्ट करता है और वो स्टेमन का एक पार्ट है. ओके, ऑल राइट. So everybody, please make sure that you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, because let me tell you, right, it's important that you stay subscribed to us, you show us your love by liking this video and sharing it. And here's a quick homework question for all of you, okay? Homework question is to define double fertilization. And let me know in the comment section below, yes? All right, ma'am, when do you do live stream? Stay subscribed, check the community post. You will know when I'll be coming live, okay? आपको हिंदी आती है? थोड़ा थोड़ा मैं ट्राई कर रही हूँ. हिंदी आती है, but you know, when I have to talk, I get a little, you know, I struggle a little. That's all. All right, everybody. So I think with this we will wind up, right? I hope all of you enjoyed today's class, right? Yes, and Anushka, you are right about that. आपने सोचा नहीं हिंदी बोलने के लिए, which means you can speak without thinking. Yeah, I can, but I'm just very conscious. It takes me some time, right? So it's important. Now, is pistil also known as carpel? Yes. Yes, Siddharth. Hello. Hi. Telegram live कब आओगे? Very soon. Very soon. Okay. Yes, Harshit, I can see you. Yes, all right. Okay, Ayush. Yes. Pratigya, pistil is also known as carpel. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, everyone. Hoping to see you very, very soon again. Bye-bye. Good night.